Hello YouTube, today we are going to see if we can fix this piece of crap Subaru. It's disgusting, but we got it really cheap and it's broken. Now I know many of you are saying, well, it's a Subaru, Anton, of course it's broken, and especially if it was cheap, then obviously it's broken. So what exactly is broken? Well, on this car, it has a loss of power. So it will start, which I'll show you in a minute. It will run, it will drive, it will move. However, if I go above like 40% throttle, the car will bog down and I will not be able to accelerate past like 5 to 10 kilometers an hour. If I back off the gas and then ease into it slow, I can get it up to like 40 or 50 kilometers an hour, but that's about it, and that's being very gentle with the clutch and keeping the RPMs up as high as possible. So we need to figure out what is causing the loss of power and try to fix it. So today we're going to just investigate. Maybe we'll fix it, because at this point I don't know what's wrong with it. You're going to help me find out. So the previous owner did do a few things to this already to try and fix it. So the first thing he did was change the O2 sensor. So there is a new O2 sensor on there. This is my first Subaru, so I'm going to be going through it, trying to figure it out. Personally, I think that it is a plugged catalytic converter. So this has 3 cats on it. It has a cat off of each bank of cylinders and then a main catalytic converter. But I'm not going to jump right to the cat because I do have my dealer level scanner. So we're going to plug this in, we're going to boot it up, and we're going to see if there's any codes that are on the engine. There is no check engine light right now, and this is a symptom that a lot of people have that have low powered Subarus, is they say there's no check engine light. Now this particular car has 266,000 kilometers. I don't have any reason to believe that the head gasket is blown, but we will certainly look at that as well. I think they put new coil packs, new spark plugs, and did kind of all the basic things. So we're just going to double check. The risk of having somebody try to fix it and not fix it is they may have introduced new problems. So even if it has a plugged cat, because they've changed other parts, maybe they were inferior parts, maybe they installed them wrong, I don't know. So we might have a multi-part problem. If you're looking at this for your car, hopefully nobody's touched it yet and you only have one problem to solve. But don't rule out the fact that these cars are getting old and they will have multiple things break, and maybe you have more than one thing broken causing your reduced power. So let's check this scanner first. So this can read the VIN and then just tell me what kind of car it is. So based off of this VIN, it's going to tell me all kinds of useful information. Say okay. Now it's asking me, where is this car? So this is a North American car, and it is an Impreza model year 98 to 11. Diagnostics, auto scan. Now it's going to scan all of the systems on the car and tell me what kind of errors I have. So this will check everything. You can see the engine control system passed, which is why I have no check engine light. So it's finished scanning. You can see it's 100%. Engine control system has no fault. ABS system has 2 faults. Airbag 1 fault. Occupant detection system, no faults. Keyless unit mode, also no faults. So I don't think that our loss of power is based on the ABS or the airbag system. So I'm not going to really look at those. But what I will want to do is I can also go into live data, and this is where I can check a lot of what's going on with the loss of power. Specifically, I can watch like mass airflow, and I can watch other sensors to see what exactly is happening here. So if I click on mass airflow and I go to a graph, now I can see a graph. I can start the car up. So there we can see our mass airflow graph, and then I can rev it and see that it seems to be revving okay. And that's at about 5,000 RPM, which is good. So that is the end of our diagnostic troubleshooting with the scanner. Now it's time to actually go and start looking at things under the car and inside the engine bay. So now that the car is nice and warm, one thing that I want to check is just that there's no weird sounds from the cylinder head. So if you have a bad cylinder head, normally what you're going to hear is bubbling in your radiator. So we're just going to listen. And if you want, you can pop the cap open here and have a good listen. Now the reservoir is a little bit on the low side, so one thing that I'll want to do, give this a squeeze. This is nice and warm, and when I squeeze it, it squirts into there. So even though the reservoir is low, it is not empty. So it should be topped up for sure, but it's not so low that we've got air bubbles in here. But what we're listening for is if there are air bubbling sounds, and I'm not hearing anything. So that will make me believe that our head gasket is probably okay. Coming around over here, we do see that the guy had said he replaced the O2 sensor. If I look right down in there, I can see, ooh, that's warm. I can see an O2 sensor, and he got just a generic one that just splices in. So I can see that he's cut wires here and spliced that in. So I'm going to assume that's okay for now. The next thing that I want to do is check for a restriction in those catalytic converters. And to do that, I want to go underneath the car. So with the car jacked up, we've got it on stands. I'm just going to crawl underneath there just to try and get a closer look at the catalytic converters. So we're under the car now. We are looking to the front. That's the front of the car over there. In our exhaust pipe, we've got our exhaust pipe right here. We've got our first, well, this is our last catalytic converter right here. This is the big one, and then there's smaller ones up there. It looks like they might have just done flex pipes here. Somebody has been here doing something already. But what we want to find out is, since this is warm, we want to touch the pipe facing back. It's kind of warm. And then we want to touch the pipe facing in front. It's more warm. And then we want to just touch, ooh, that's very hot. So the catalytic converter is super hot. Now, it's got this shielding on here, but what I want to do is try and drill some holes in front of the catalytic converter and just see if our bogging issue has gone away. Because I think the cat's plugged or partially plugged. It's not fully plugged, but I think as we rev the engine up, whatever's plugging it is flipping up and plugging it worse. So I want to just make somewhere for the air to go. So I'm going to drill some holes in the front there so that we can get some exhaust out of the car and see if that improves our bogging concern. If it does, we'll look at just cutting this cat right out of here and straight piping it. Here we've got the heat shield peeled back, which has exposed this part of the pipe. We just cut that clamp off and then just kind of pried that open. The bolts were all rusted and really bad shape, so this was the only way to get in there. We're going to put some small holes right into that pipe right there, just big enough that the engine will be able to breathe through those holes. But if we're wrong, we can always plug those back up by welding them. Here we are just drilling the holes out with a 3/8 inch bit. We're going to make 3 holes in total. There you have it, 3 3/8 inch holes, just big enough for the exhaust to breathe through. This will allow us to fully diagnose if the engine has a breathing issue at that catalytic converter. So the next thing to do is just fire this up and see how it works. The holes are big enough that we can fill them with a welder easily enough if we're wrong and we want to put the exhaust back together. So now we're going to start the car with the holes in the exhaust. It's going to be a lot louder, but there we go. It seems to rev okay. You can hear, I don't know if you can hear, but you've got to be able to hear. Let me hit unlock here. When I step on the gas, you can hear the exhaust pouring out those holes. You ready? So I have a feeling that that's fixed it, but we do need to go for a drive just to find out. So I'm going to get Parker to open the garage door, and then we're going to go and give this a try. So it's time to try this out. I have not driven it anywhere yet, just off of the ramps. I've got hope because it seems to be running better already. Now, last time when I started driving it, it did accelerate okay first, and then after I started going, it had problems. So we're not calling this a victory yet, but it sure seems to rev freely right now. I can hear that exhaust. I'm surprised the all-wheel drive's not working better, but I think we've fixed it. My ABS definitely works, which is good to hear. But like on a hill like this, I would not be able to accelerate and go, and I totally can. This car's fixed. Like there's no, when I step on the gas, it's fixed. It's fixed. I am gonna have to look at some studded tires because we're planning on using this for ice drifting. So I'm gonna have to, oh yeah, it revs free now. It'd rev way more free if I had the full exhaust open. So I know that it's good. So do we just go cut the cat off now?
I think we could.
We might as maybe actually, you know what? Go open the garage. We will cut it off because I need to know how big I need it. So we're back in the garage after our test drive. I've got it up on the ramps. I am extremely confident that we fixed it because, now I don't have any footage of it, but I was able to drive right up onto the ramp without the car stalling. Now last time, you remember I told you I had to like clutch, ride the clutch till it died, pull the e-brake, get the revs high again, go up, pull the e-brake, and Parker was noticing that up here, we're actually getting exhaust coming up through here. That's actually exhaust floating the valves and coming back out the intake. So it's very, very bad to run a car with a clogged cat, but it's very easy to fix. And I'm gonna show you the fix right now. For this fix, we're gonna use this. This is a Milwaukee hacksaw. I got it for Father's Day from my children. It has a metal blade on it. This is exactly the tool that all those punks that steal your catalytic converters in the night are using to get your catalytic converter. We are going to do the exact same process right now, except I legit own this car. I'm in my garage and I'm going to take this off. Now, you want to be safe, so I'm going to use this while I'm doing this. So if I go like that, you can see it's totally like covered in crap, but it will work for this purpose. Now my plan is to not replace the cat, so I want to cut this somewhere where there's a flat edge. So I'm going to cut it roughly right here. So there's a flat edge here that I can stick my exhaust piece onto and weld it, and then I'm going to go back there and find another flat space where I can cut it and put my flex tube on. And then we just need to measure how long of a flex tube we need and check the diameter at each end to make sure that I've got the right flex tube. So I'm not going to be installing the flex tube today. I'm just cutting the cat off. We'll take it for another drive as we go to park it. It's going to be awesome. It's going to be loud. It's going to sound real cool. And the car will be fixed at that point. It will be a perfectly running, working Subaru. Okay, there's one end. Now we got to go over to that end and cut that too. So what we've got now is an exhaust hole right here, which goes to our muffler, which I believe is still good, and an exhaust hole here, which we can attach to. Now these look like they're different sized holes. So what I want to do is measure the diameter of that one, and then measure the diameter of that one, and then just check how long they are from one to the other. And I'm just going to look for a flex pipe that will fit between the two. I may need an adapter. I'll probably adapt this up bigger so that it's the same size as this all the way through here, just to eliminate restrictions and stuff. And then I can weld these three holes shut. That's what happens. It's not like fully blocked off, it's partially blocked. So if it's really blocked, you probably won't even be able to drive it as much as we could, but since it wasn't fully blocked, we were able to drive it a little bit. When it's really blocked, you actually won't have any exhaust coming out the tailpipe. we did have exhaust coming out the tailpipe. So I knew that it wasn't fully blocked. However, it did seem like I was hearing exhaust coming through the intake tube, which made me very confident that that's what the problem was. I know that we're fixed. The car is going to be super loud now. It's going to sound really sporty. I may just leave it like this for now because this winter we're planning to use this as our drift car, our ice drifting car. So you're going to see this in future videos out ripping around on the frozen lakes of Alberta, trying this thing out, trying to have some fun with the legendary Subaru all-wheel drive. That's what it was bought for. I also have a few other special things, if you will, that I'm planning to use this car for, so we'll use it for that as well, but you'll see it in a lot of future videos coming up. So if you like seeing this car, you like seeing us, make sure you subscribe. Gears and Tech down below. Let's look at this catalytic converter a little bit more. There, right there, you can see some of that honeycomb catalyst in there is very blocked off. So the easy thing to do would be to measure our piping right here, which I did measure. It is 2 inches. When I go to the back here, it's more like 2 3/8 of an inch. So I'm going to be looking for an exhaust flex tube to seal that up that is about 2 3/8 of an inch on both ends. And if I need to, I'll just get an adapter on this end. And then I can try to find something that is roughly this long. When I use my measuring tape, it's 22 inches. Once I add a bend in there, probably a 24-inch flex tube will be perfect to fill that gap in. And this is actually worth money because it's still got all of the exhaust components in there that those wreckers really love. So I'm going to start calling around, see how much they'll pay me for this thing, because I think I can get enough money for this that it will pay me what I need for that flex tube with a little bit of money left over. So that'll make this budget car even cheaper. So that's all it takes to troubleshoot a low power condition on a Subaru. Again, you don't have to do the scanner that we just did. If you think it's a plugged exhaust, the easiest thing is to do what we did down there. Just drill a couple holes in it, see if your drivability improves. If it does, and it probably will, then you can look at doing the same fix that we're doing right here, right now. If it doesn't fix it, it's not a big deal to weld it back up, or you can get some exhaust tape and wrap that around to just seal it back up. So it's not that hard for a DIYer, but it is a good place to check, especially on these Subarus, because they are notorious for having plugged exhausts. So that's the end of this video today because we fixed it. I'm really happy we fixed it. We're gonna go take it for another rip around the block and then park it back where it's gonna rest until our lakes freeze over, when we can get this thing out on the ice for some ice drifting. Future videos coming up are gonna be us prepping it for the ice drifting. And if you saw our budget road trip from last year, you saw our Nissan Altima, which was done up tuner style. Well, guess what? When we sold that car, check this out. Check this out, check this out, right here. When we sold that car, the guy did not want our wing with it. So I'm gonna show you a sneak peek right now. So look at this, look at this. This is gonna fit right here, something just like that. And our drift car is gonna be awesome. We're gonna have our drift wing on it. We've already got the black trunk. We're gonna paint the roof black, the hood black. We'll get some mud flaps on here. We're gonna do this up proper rally drift style with a little bit of street tuner flair. It is a non-turbo, so you know, we'll be a bit of posers, but I don't care. I'm really excited about using this car for this winter. It's all coming up, so you don't want to miss this. Hey, thanks for watching all the way to the end of this video. We hope you enjoy the content in this video, and we'd love to have you come back. Consider subscribing to the channel if you haven't already. And for those subscribers who are looking for that extra special thing that you can do to support this channel, consider joining our members group. That's where we're building this community, the Gears and Tech community, where we can all enjoy content together. You'll get special perks, which we'd love for you to check out by clicking the link down below. For those of you who are just happy to watch the video, that's okay too. you can check out some of our other content right over here, where we've got some previous videos that have already been uploaded and enjoyed by many of our viewers already. We do hope to see you again. This has been Gears and Tech. Have a great day.